Alright, so this is farther into TOS than I had hoped to go. It would have been good to have covered a season one episode since it's been quite a while since Lowrunner did those. But I could not find a season one episode that I really had much to say about. The one episode in season one where Lore said this is a lamentation, I pretty much agree. It's a god awful episode that I can't really disagree with him about, and the other episodes he mostly said were good, and I can't disagree with that. I would probably argue that season one of TNG is actually, it's not the best. Season two is the best, but it also, I would argue that season one of TOS is like kind of the most pure. It has the most like energy to it. It has the most potential on display, and season two is kind of where they settled down and turned into what they were perceived as being, rather than what they were actually trying to be, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't. Um, so, so season one, I think, kind of speaks for itself, but season two, there were several season two episodes where I felt like there was something worth saying, and one of the earlier ones is his second TOS lamentation. He's had at least one more since then. And um, so The Apple is the name of the episode, and I really strongly, not necessarily disagreed, but had a very different take on that one, because um, well, I don't remember exactly what he said about it, but he basically just ripped it a new one because he thought that it was, dumb and stupid and there was nothing to talk about. And I disagree. It is dumb and it is stupid, but there is a lot to talk about, in my opinion. Here's the problem. One thing that he does that I am so far not planning on doing is taking notes. I might, over the course of recording two or three of these, decide that I have to take notes. But right now I don't want to put in that extra like prep work. I mean, I'm doing this. I'm doing this whole thing live and unscripted. For better and for worse, that is my approach to things. Is not to try to be a polished, perfect performance, but just to be me. Good, bad, or indifferent. This is what I bring to the table. This is what I got to offer. So, um, so without writing things down, and given the fact that I have a terrible memory, it's really hard for me to do a like watch the episode and then remember until the end of the episode what I was planning to say. So I'm gonna have to do that, but I'm probably not gonna do it great. So what I'm gonna try doing for at least this first episode, and then we'll see how the others go after that. Because I've already lined up what episode to do for every series except the last couple. And I have, like 24 hours to work on this project, so, you're gonna, see a lot of me in the same shirt. There's not much I can do about that. Yeah, so to try and do this, so what seems to make the most sense is to do a before and after, because these phones, Android, or the particular Android that I have, seems like you can't, like, okay, there is a pause function. I literally just discovered it. So what I'm going to try to do is pause this video and watch the Apple, and then unpause it and repause it as necessary to comment, and hopefully not delete the whole thing in the process, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So before I get started, I'm going to give my first blush impression. Like I said, The Apple's a bad episode. It is not good at all. I immediately and always remember it in terms of the things that immediately scan for me to the Apple is not the biblical allegory, which is kind of lost on me because I did not grow up religious, but the fact that it's a death planet. The exploding rock when you step on it, and the killer plants, and this, that, and the other thing. Also, there are these like weird blade things sticking up at random intervals all over the place, which seemed like it could have been cool. Like those should have been going somewhere neat. And then there's an episode where Miss Redshirt, whatever her name is, I'll be talking about her after I watch the episode or during it. But they're just walking across the clearing away from Vol, and she just walks past one of these things and idly touches it as she walks by. That is like my favorite moment in the entire episode, because you are on a planet where a red shirt stepped on a rock and exploded. Your instructions from that moment forward should be don't touch anything. So for whatever reason, it's the real reason probably is that the actors filmed the second scene first and weren't told that the first one was going to be coming up. So, but it's really funny to think of things like that. So that is like the first thing that I think of about the Apple. I always kind of consider the Apple as being a inferior version of the similar story from Return of the Archons, which Lore agrees. He gave that one a regular "this is a bad" episode, and he gave the Apple a lamentation, so clearly he agrees. In my opinion, Return of the Archons is actually kind of good. It's not great, but I would not have said it was a bad episode, which he did. But it seems like it's a better take on the idea of a planet controlled by a computer. The anti-sex vibes of the Apple are really kind of strange, given that we're talking about Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry was Mr. Sex is Awesome, so there's probably a story there which might be fun to research sometime. But for right now, other things that I can think of, the aliens are kind of weird and gross, so it's kind of hard for me to sympathize with them. They're going to discover the wonders of sex now that Vol is gone, and that's... I'm in favor of that, but I'd be more in favor of that if they were not, like Andorian level looking people, only red instead of blue. And it's actually kind of funny how nearly that maps up by memory. I could be wrong. I'll have to re-look at the makeup job. But like Vol is cool just visually, and for the second time in the second season, I think. They just phaser Vol from orbit the same way they did to Apollo's temple in Who Mourns for Adonais. That's kind of just the cloud of memories that I have around the Apple. Like I said, lots and lots to talk about. This is going to be a pretty long video. Overall, my videos are probably not going to be as long as Lore's, but this is going to be a really long one, especially if I do the stop-start thing a bunch, which I'm a little scared of doing because the record button is right there and I don't want to overwrite anything. Would have been convenient if I was done being sick before I started recording these. I've had an on again, off again cough for a month. It's quite annoying. But anyway, I think the Apple's neat. I've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to start doing that real soon. First thing I have to say before I even start playing the episode, I've got the DVD up right here, and I love these DVDs of the original series because they have like a little on the when you first load up the menu. Most of you probably already know this, but for those who don't, when you first load up the menu on the DVD, it's got a little picture of like the most important or most visually distinctive character or object from the episode. I just love that. That's the coolest thing in the world to me. I wish more DVDs did that kind of thing. Anyway, about to start the episode now. Ha! This is going to take forever because I'm going to have to stop the video like every 5 minutes to record my stream of consciousness. But I just started the episode, and they beamed down the initial landing party. First off, I have to mention the fact that for the longest time when I was, a child and a teenager and so forth, casually watching Star Trek, it took me forever to notice the fact that Kirk doesn't actually wear a gold uniform most of the time. He has the one and only green uniform in the entire TOS. I mean, it's still kind of gold, but it's definitely more green. I just had to mention that. But it's on the same subject as my actual comment, which is red shirts. Now, this is like the red shirt death episode. I think this has more deaths than any other episode. But the hilarious thing is that the initial party of like 6 people beams down. It's Kirk, Chekhov, Spock, Ladyface, to borrow Laura's term for a female character he can't remember the name of, or in my case, I haven't reached her name yet. And then there's 2 red shirts. So they brought 2 red shirts already, and by the fact that they're not people I recognize. I already know they're going to die. And then McCoy beams down with 2 more red shirts. It's like, we don't have enough ensigns to kill. Okay, so already. Oh god, I'm dying. Already you see there's going to be a bit of a stylistic difference going on. I'm going to try not to spaz out quite this much on every episode, but I was so excited. That's the best thing ever. I'm gonna really enjoy. This is not a good episode, but I'm gonna have so much fun with it. All right, see you in a second, guys. All right, so we've gotten through the teaser. The first red shirt has been killed, and so naturally Shatner has to be like, "Didn't somebody say this looked like paradise?" Yeah, Jim, you said something approximating that just a minute ago. Maybe it was Spock, but the point is, not the best writing. Like I said, this isn't an amazingly good episode. It's just fun. And before that, of course, was Chekhov's amazing Eden is just outside Moscow joke. And by amazing, I mean mildly amusing. But anyway, a couple of subjects have come up since then. This is not a great episode to talk about this. It would definitely have been better in some others, but since I don't know whether I'm going to be doing episodes on others at any point, I might as well say this now. The remastered versions of the DVDs have amazing planet effects. It's by far the most impressive thing about them, certainly, is to go from 60s visual effects in the actual show to modern computer graphics of the planets. They all look amazing. This is not the most amazing looking, but it does do a pretty good job of getting across the Edenic atmosphere of the planet. And then, we've had our first red shirt death, as I said, and now Jim is contacting the ship and talking to Scott, and I have forgotten what I was going to say, so I'm going to back up real quick. That's it, of course. First off, I had literally did not notice this until the second rewatch, but when the ensign is killed by the freaking machine gun plant, whatever you want to call it, that launches the little cluster of seeds, it absolutely does not look like a lethal wound, and so we actually needed, in the captain's log right after we come back from the credits, in the teaser it was not at all clear why the guy died from having a bunch of corn embedded in his chest. So the first thing Jim has to say is that he was killed by a poisonous plant. So that's actually, I would call that good exposition, except that it should have come across on the spot. Spock should have been like, Captain, the signs of death, whatever the term of that, rigor mortis and so forth. The body clearly indicates death by alkaloid poison. I mean, we can get away with Spock being able to do that, or certainly McCoy could diagnose that on the spot. So doing it in the captain's log instead is not ideal, but literally the first time I didn't catch it, and so it was worth commenting on. But I remembered what I actually wanted to talk about when I first paused the episode. It's the fact that Kyle is in this episode. I could pick any random episode to talk about Kyle, but I definitely want to talk about Kyle, and this may be the only episode I'm doing. So, I really want to know why it is that, for those who don't know, Kyle is a bridge red shirt. He's played by John Winston, and he is in a lot of episodes. He is comparable in his appearance rate to Sulu and Chekhov, but for whatever reason, Sulu and Chekhov became main characters as of the movies. Like, they were the ones who kept being brought back for the movies, and they were the ones who went to conventions and so forth. I don't know what John Winston's deal is. Maybe he just didn't want to do the convention circuit, and that's why he never became a quote-unquote second string character, or third string, whatever you want to say. But it's really weird. A similar thing that I didn't notice back when I was first watching the show, but picked up on the last time I did a full watch through. I don't think this had originally dawned on me, but Grace Lee Whitney, people who know their Star Trek know that Grace Lee Whitney left the show because of unpleasantness with some of the executives. So that fact is not the that fact is not the whole story alone. What's interesting to me is that Yeoman Rand leaves the show, and then Christine Chapel joins the show. I'm pretty sure there's not an episode that has them both in it. And back when I was a kid, I had no idea on that. But anyway, so back when I was a kid, I probably didn't even know that Kyle existed, because the episodes never really call attention to him. I am not observant enough to know who Leslie is, for instance. Lore has talked about Leslie several times, but as far as I know, he's never mentioned Kyle, and by now he's done recording all of Season 3, even though it hasn't launched, so unless he mentions it in an episode I haven't seen yet, he never mentions Kyle, and so I definitely wanted to go out of my way to bring him up, because, in my opinion, John Winston does a very good portrayal of this English bridge officer, who is just as interesting, as far as I'm concerned, as the Russian or Japanese bridge officers, or Swahili, or not sure if there's any other random nationalities that they throw in that I've failed to notice. But yeah, it's just, he's a cool character, and I don't know why he just kind of vanished into the wings when Sulu and Chekhov are basically just as present in the actual show. There might be a difference in like 3 or 4 episodes, but probably not much more than that, because there are a lot of episodes without Sulu, and Chekhov didn't even join the show until Season 2. So, yeah, what the heck? Where was Kyle when you made the motion picture? Anyway, that's my comment, and back to the episode. So a few minutes later, we still haven't named Ladyface, but we have had a little tender moment with her and Chekhov. However, we have named 3 of the 4 red shirts that we've had. Now, the guy who turns out to have been named Hensdorf was already dead before we learned that. But there's a moment where Jim gives an assignment to a man named Mallory, who says, he says, take Marple with you. One of them's going to die by stepping on a rock. I already know that. But it is neat that they took a moment to actually give some character, because we've had one red shirt who died without us knowing his name. Now we know the name of another red shirt, and we might actually be vaguely affected by the death of this one, and not to mention it'll be a little more obvious as to why he's dead now. But anyway, so, and the still that I'm frozen on has, this is fair use, so no copy wronging me, but I gotta show you this, because look at this, I can't do the reverse thing, so let's just see if we can get the screen. Hard to do. Here, look at that guy. What is up with his face? Is it just, it might just be an artifact of the transitions process, but he looks like he, I'm probably going to feel stupid in a minute, because maybe they actually address this in the plot. But if they don't address it in the plot, then I really want to know why he looks like someone just ripped his face off. So let's find out. Okay, so it was just a visual artifact. Never mind. If I ever do any video editing, I can clip that part out. But right now that would involve skills that I do not have, and possibly software that I do not have. So, back to the episode. Okay, so we've hit the first definite incident of bad in the episode, not just a little awkward writing. Spock picks up the rock. I had actually forgotten this, but I thought they introduced the rock by having the red shirt step on it, but apparently that happens later. Spock picks up the rock. He instantly knows exactly what kind of mineral it is, snaps it in half, says it has good cleavage, and tosses it idly aside, clearly having no idea it's about to explode, and then he says, obviously highly unstable, Captain. Okay, this is flat-out character assassination for Spock, so this is the first moment where the episode has actually started to lose me. It's been fun so far, clearly a little on the silly side, but I've been enjoying it, and now this is where the downslide into absolute dumb has begun, for reals. Landon, that's her name. Ensign Landon. I should have remembered that. So we've I don't know why I couldn't remember that before. Anyway, we have now reached the point where Scotty, having previously mentioned that there is a slight loss of power on the engines, now says that they're completely out of power. Like, you couldn't have called in when they were halfway there, Scott. So this is the second massive failing of the episode, and it's going to keep going down. Oh, by the way, a little while ago we did have the first of those blades that stick up from the ground. That was fun. They never actually do anything in the episode, but they're really, really obvious, and they certainly seem like they should do something. So yeah, fun though this episode is, it is also definitely bad. Oh no, Spock's dead. Spock's totally dead, because that's a thing that can happen. I should not be commenting on all of these little flaws that are extremely obvious to anyone who actually watches it. This is, my episode is going to end up being longer than the original show if I keep this up, but like, of all of the jokes in the episode, Spock's face after he gets shot by the thorns is probably the most meme worthy of all of the stupid things this episode has going for it. So it's bad. Oh no, Spock's totally dead unless we beam him up to the ship immediately, and we can't beam him up to the ship immediately. Yeah, right, episode. So we had an entire episode in season 1 about how the Enterprise has shuttles. As bad as the Spock is totally dead was in and of itself, it did lead to a nice little character interaction. Spock lies his face off and says that he planned on dodging the thorns. We know that that's not... Like, he clearly got caught by surprise. He even shows it. Like, that's why he made a meme-worthy face. He was legitimately surprised he got hit, let